Good morning or afternoon, wherever you're at. We're going to be starting here in just a couple minutes. Well, let's get rolling here pretty quickly. Okay, welcome everyone, and I'm going to put Mindy and Amanda and Greg in here. And what we'll do, we'll bring a number of our other participants in live too as we go here. So welcome Sal, welcome Mark, welcome Andrew, and we're going to have a fairly intimate group today, which is always a wonderful thing. So welcome John. And
Andrew. Premier.
And guys, if you're on here with us, go ahead and put your cameras on so we can see you as well, and we'll make this as interactive as possible. But again, welcome for everybody who is new, and I guess I'm doing double duty today as administrator and as everything else here. But if you go ahead and turn your camera on, you can jump in with us, and you can mute or unmute yourself. So you're welcome to ask any questions. But
just want to say good afternoon to everyone.
Oh, welcome, John.
Hey.
Welcome.
How you doing, sir?
See you.
Great to have you. Hey, let's get started here. We have people still logging in, and you're trying to get, among others, Bob Jan logged in. But let me kind of go through and introduce everybody. You know, many people who are going to be on or are watching live probably know most of the people. And I was going to, oh, there he is. I was going to introduce first Jeff Smith. Jeff Smith was the first world light heavyweight kickboxing champion. I guess you were Don King's first and only heavyweight kickboxing champion as well. Still holding the record on the most watched martial arts fight in the history of the world on the Ali Frazier undercard. More important for our purposes, you've been professionally running martial arts schools for, God, way over 50 years now, right? So you started in, 63 in martial arts, started operating a school in Texas as part of a university program, ran a school for Junri, was general manager for Junri, vice president for Junri, et cetera, for the Junri Institute that had up to 13 locations. And then you were running as many as 4 world champion Jeff Smith locations before you became chief operations officer for Mile High Karate for our franchises around. And then in addition to that, you've been working with our martial arts wealth group for many years now. So welcome, Jeff Smith, one of the world's leading experts on how to teach and develop curriculum and run a martial arts school. Then we have Greg Moody, PhD. Greg, you're working on your counseling certificate.
I already did that.
Oh, you get it? You're actually
a licensed psychotherapist as well. So
there you go. There you go.
To say.
So anytime you want a licensed psychotherapist who is a background as an engineer and has absolutely zero empathy or
That would be it.
He's your guy.
Those are the best ones I have.
Yeah, there you go. But Greg, you've been running multiple schools now forever. Started as an engineer, then you started running martial arts schools in conjunction with the ATA. How long have your schools been open now? 20 some years?
25 years.
25 years.
My first school. Actually, more than that, when I opened a club out in Virginia near Jeff Smith's area when I was an engineer, and I started doing this, and then got the kind of bug to do it as a real profession 25 years ago, and actually do this for real, and get out of doing engineering. And opened 8 schools and ran that for years and years and years, and then we started working together way more than a decade ago.
Yeah. probably 15 years if I were to guess. And then we got Bob Dunn, who's been working with martial arts schools for well over 15 years now, right by my side the entire time. And Bob, you've probably helped 1,500, 2,000 schools in your time being with this of all ranges.
At least, sir. A lot of conversations, a lot of good friends though too.
Yeah. And our newbie here, Mindy Godfrey from Tulsa, Oklahoma here. It was cooler to say you were coming to us from Nashville, I think.
Definitely.
She just moved from Nashville, having moved from San Diego, having moved from Tulsa to San Diego to Nashville and back to Tulsa. So, but Mindy has an extensive background in live event promotion, having run events up to 40,000 people, an extensive experience on promoting live events, an extensive experience in working with the Christian community, promoting youth Christian events, adult Christian events, et cetera, and extensive experience in working with authors in the publishing industry, promoting books, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So welcome, Mindy. Anything you want to add to that, Mindy?
No, I think you covered it.
Okay. And I'm Stephen Oliver, and I've been running. I figured out Mile High Karate is coming up on its 40-year anniversary, which in 3 years, so it still makes me feel old, Jeff. I started my first school in 1974, although it's kind of laughable to think of that as a school in our current situation. That was more the, in the YMCA type of thing. But, I've been running schools forever, ended up being made the mistake of being a tournament promoter and a NASCA World Tour promoter for 10 years, did that very successfully and until I found an easy escape hatch and got out of doing that. We've now run Massmith, what are we at? About 112 or 115 intramural tournaments here just in Denver, plus the ones you promoted. My early claim to fame was I came to Denver and opened 5 schools in 18 months, 6 schools in 30 months, which, by the way, is not a suggestion. I had a staff member go out to Phoenix and try to do what I did, and I laughed. And in fact, in that book, Everything I Wish I Knew When I Was 22, there's a chapter about him. And my lament was, well, he never asked me if that was a good idea. It's funny how people go and try to do what you did without asking you if you would, in retrospect, would you do it again? But we have some of our members as special guests. So we have Amanda Olson coming to us from that huge metropolis in Tennessee. You're right on the edge of the Smoky Mountains, right on the edge of the Appalachians, and about an hour east of Knoxville, to give everybody a sense. So you're not coming from that great metropolis. Amanda, can you unmute your mic, or do I have to unmute your mic? There you go.
I got it.
Tell them a little bit about your operation.
We've been in Johnson City, Tennessee. We opened 23 years ago, opened our school. Came up from Florida. My dad owned a martial arts school and just kind of grew up in the industry. And we've been here. We have been with your group, Master Oliver, for coming up on 4 years. So it's been a very positive experience for our business. Even though we've been doing things a long time, we've been doing some things not productive, and not efficient. And so we've had a real great increase here recently from being with your group, and all the other Master Smith, Mr. Dunn, Master Moody helping us kind of streamline all that experience into something that was really profitable for us.
Yeah, and if I recall, and correct me if I mistake, but 4 years ago when we started working together, more or less, even though by most standards in the industry you had what looked like a successful school, right? As far as revenue anyway, is you were on the brink of, can we continue to do this? Do we need to shut it down, or can we get this thing to make money and move forward? Is that a fair statement?
It's exactly where we were. We had a lot of students, but we had a lot of our price point was not correct. And then we had a lot of people, it was coming and going. Our back door was pretty big. A lot of people coming in, but a lot of people coming out. And so trying to fix those things. And my family, we worked together. At that point, when we started with you guys, we had just over 500 students, and you're still with that many people, something wasn't right. I knew if we weren't making a profit.
Yeah.
And working very hard for 500 students and not making a profit. So we're very much streamlined now. We have about we're right around 400 students now, with double the gross of what we were doing before.
Excellent.
If you can be $1 million school in Johnson City, Tennessee, nobody else has any excuse for saying our income or our population. Tell them what the demographics are in Johnson City, just for a comparison with where they're at.
Yeah, just for grins.
Just for grins and giggles. Well, for me, coming from a really small town in Florida, moving up here to Johnson City was a big step. There's 65,000 people here, and I don't know everybody, so it's a little difficult for me. So when I hear some of the other demographics, I'm like, wow, but we are in a very rural area, so I do draw students from 15, 20 miles away. So we're very spread out, and our median income here is 35,000 a year. It may have been getting up to 40,000 a year, but Master Smith, one of the things you told me was I didn't need to have every person in the community be a student. I just needed that top percent that could afford what we should be charging. I just needed 200 at 300, and we'd be $1 million school. And so I've tried to keep that in my focus.
Yeah. 300 at 200, not 200 at 300.
Oh, sorry.
Well, no. You had it right to begin with.
Did I? Okay.
I'm screwing you up now. And then we have Jan Lappin and her daughter Rachel. Who are you? There you go. There's Jan down there, and you guys are coming from us from another thriving metropolis in the middle of Florida. So Jan or Rachel, tell us a little bit about your school.
Jan, you can.
Don't all speak at once, I guess, huh?
Yeah, there you go.
Well, we're similar to Amanda. We've like doubled our student, the amount that we get per student, and it's made our life so much easier, because before, to hit 1 million where we were before, we would have had to have 600 people. Now with 300 people, we're hitting 1 million. So your program has helped us a lot, and it's continually helping us. Today, we were talking about lease negotiations. We were talking about things that every day I learn something new and I get something new. So it's like a constant growth process. And what I like about you guys is you're state of the art. There's always someone that's been there, done that, whatever problem we're having, whatever issue we're having. But it's just helped us a lot. And that's why I keep trying to refer my friends, just listen in, because it can help you so much. I see Sal here. So, hey, Sal, good to see you. I don't see you, but I see that you're on. So I'm glad you're here.
I think it was Sal who messaged us eating a sandwich or something, would turn on his video after lunch.
Hey, Sal.
Oh, and he's got fresh
Oh,
cargo. The baby's going to steal the show. Never try to compete with babies or animals.
There you go, Rachel.
How adorable.
You weren't there that long ago, Rachel.
I know.
I'll just be in listen-in mode. That's it. I got a little guy right here.
Yeah, there
Good
you go.
to see you, Sal. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
We'll pull you back in a second, Sal. So.
And Master Oliver, probably something to let everybody know is that, sometimes during this coronavirus, a lot of schools were hit pretty hard and lost a lot of students and had trouble getting new students. Amanda, what was your enrollment and renewals last month, for instance?
Last month, October, we had 25 enrollments, and we had 25 renewals. So it was just kind of, my stats person said that wasn't a mistake. It was just actually the same number. She knew I'd asked. But we had a very successful October. And in fact, October of 2020 was a 10% increase from 2019. And I really am very excited about that. Just looking forward.
And
Yeah.
just to clarify for everybody, that 25 renewals that you got were for your black belt leadership program that we got you to do. That is a 4 to 6 year program.
Well,
And
we can talk about that later. You know, we still haven't introduced Greg or Paul or you know, we'll talk about that stuff a little bit later. And so we have Greg Macy, who's in Fort Collins, Colorado, and Greg, you have 3 very successful schools there. Give them a little bit of the outline of your schools, including, you know, you started training with me when you were what, 7? I think it's.
Yeah, back in 1986. And so my story is kind of maybe can resonate with some of you guys from training back in the day. And I grew up in the system, learning how to instruct, learning how to program direct and everything under Grandmaster Oliver. And so I had a lot of the systems, I had a lot of the ideas, but I was also kind of, well, I left the industry and went and got a real job back in 2000 and started my own company and was very successful. And I grew it in 7 or 8 years and I sold it. A lot of the things that I learned from marketing to, sorry, I don't know things here, but, you know, from going on into that other industry, you know, a lot of the things that I learned really carried over and it made my other company really successful. And it was funny how many parallels there were that I learned from Grandmaster Oliver as far as marketing, sales, and management, leadership, all those things. And so as I wanted to get back into the industry to give back, I had goals to open up multiple schools. But being that I was gone for about 10 years, I was kind of stuck in a time capsule. And when I opened up my schools, I got a lot of guff for, you know, trying to recreate back what happened and what was successful back in 1995 and 98, you know, and that's, you know, Jan mentioned a point there about how this group is really innovative and they stay up to the latest and greatest. And that really, even in 10 years, there was so much that had changed that, you know, I did have to kind of go back and relearn and figure out the new way. And, you know, that was a challenge, but they pressed and they pushed on me and they kept on me. And so that's one of the things I really would like to say that's awesome about the group is that not only are we learning from the greatest in the industry, but we're also, all of us, you know, we have creative ideas and through this pandemic, every one of our members probably came up with, you know, 3 or 4 ideas that we all stole from each other and we all got to use and employ. And so not only did we have this great support system, but we also had each other to learn and get through because we do have some of the greatest minds in the industry in here. And so being able to you know, multiply that is really awesome.
Absolutely. So welcome, Greg. And Paul Pendergast from Brick, New Jersey. And, you know, if anybody's in the belly of the beast for COVID, it was certainly you in the early stages here, Paul.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, we got hit pretty good. I mean, we all got hit, but I think being in the Northeast here, we got smacked around pretty good. So, but it's been my experience with the group here has just been amazing. I've been very, very happy. You know, I've been in business. Well, I think I just hit my 31st year. 31 years as a school owner, 40 years in. Been to many seminars throughout that time. Been with a couple groups, but nothing like this group. I mean, it's just a wealth of knowledge between Master Oliver and Master Smith and then the members. But I was, you know, a school owner, doing my thing, making a couple bucks, thought I was doing good and had some systems in place. But I think I've been with the group now. I've been with everybody almost 3 years, I think it's almost 3 years. And I was very skeptical at first. And I didn't know if I wanted to be part of it. And I was going to do it short term. I'm only going to do a month. I'm only going to do 3 months. And now it's 3 years later. And I've seen the gross, the tuition go up. I just love this support. I can reach out to anybody. And if I have a question, if I have an idea, if there's somebody's been there, done that before me. You know, last month, I think I even posted on the group. I mean, throughout all this pandemic and all this COVID stuff, I mean, we just missed hitting 100,000. We did actually 97,000 and change. And I don't know where we'd be during this time if it wasn't for the group. And I mean that with my heart, because it was just, it's a scary time for everybody. But knowing that we have a wealth of knowledge and a good support system means a lot to me. Means a lot to me. But I think it's been an awesome experience, and my school has kind of come up to another level. Whereas before I thought I was doing great and I was just kind of plateauing, and now we've gone to another level. So thank you.
Oh, you're very welcome. And congratulations on almost hitting 100 last month.
Yeah, we set a goal. Master Smith put us on track, and we've always taken statistics, and then when he said the averages, and I know you guys will talk about that, I'm sure, in another time, but we went into the averages of our and my guys. It just clicked with my guys, and I'm for guys who never really like to take statistics. Now I'm getting 6-page reports and averages, and I'm getting bar graphs and pie charts, and we're going to hit so thank you, Master Smith. That was that you're doing there.
Yeah. And no, let's not do a tangent on statistics.
Like a real business you're doing.
Yeah, I'm a real, right. After 31 years, we're a real business now.
What a concept. But anyway, for all of our guests, let me give you a little bit of an overview. I mean, we have 50 minutes, maybe an hour, and we're already at 21 minutes. And what we want to do is give you a huge amount of free content, action plans, things that you can really put out in the field. And what we do know is you're each in different areas in unique markets, one thing or another. So what we're going to do to really make this productive for you is we're going to hit some highlights today, hit some case studies, but also we're going to give you a huge packet of material that includes checklist on what to do if your state's completely shut down, what checklist on what you do if you're open or partially open, a whole series of marketing checklists, different recordings of past member meetings, including of Jan Lappin's school, what she did well and poorly, frankly, and Amanda's school, same thing, and Greg's and Paul's and others. So, but then what we're going to do is we're going to set a couple of times, so we'll have an hour or more to really look at your situation personally. And we promise to give you a complete action plan. And really the strategy would be an overview today, give you a ton of material to look at now through the weekend, set a time on Monday or Tuesday. And typically we do 2 sessions. We'll do an initial session with Master Smith and a follow-up session with me. We'll give you a complete outline and action step on some things that can help get things up pretty dramatically. For some of you already have some stats, and I know we have at least 1 or 2 schools who were, for instance, at 400 active when this thing started. Now they're at 200 active, or that they were at 500 active and now they're at 200 active. And what happens with this, and I want you to think about this and write this down, is what we did as a group, and I guess I can take some of the credit, but Greg said it properly, is it was really the creativity of everybody coming together, is we adapted really quickly in March, rather than waiting till the summer or waiting till after that. And we made an assumption that this thing may be done in May, which is kind of what people thought back then, or this may go on, for the foreseeable future, and what it is that we have to do to adapt and be effective. But for schools that are down that much, there's 3 components of this thing. One is a lot of school owners felt that they were going to lose a bunch of students because they were unemployed or didn't have money or one thing or another. And while it's true there's some impact on that, if you handled it well, it was minimal. Number 2 is a lot of school owners just didn't adapt well to remote learning and create a remote learning environment, a Zoom classroom, a simulcast situation, and then moving when they were able to classes in the park, and then when we're able to moving into a social distance situation. So that transition happened in some cases poorly, so you lost more than you should have. Let's take an example. Amanda, in March and April, did your dropout rate spike, or was it fairly normal?
Actually, it was fairly normal. It was a little bit higher. We didn't have a big spike in that. We put a lot of people on hold as they were trying to figure out with their jobs and things like that. But it wasn't as dramatic as I was expecting or that I thought. And a lot of the things that, it's this group working together, ideas on how to stay in contact and communicate with all of your students and during this time and how important that was really, I think, made a big difference.
Yeah.
And letting them know that we were open.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I remember the one banner that I gave you a tongue lashing about. But to give an example, I've talked to a number of schools, and as a representation is, one of them was down in 5 months over 35%, and attributed all of that 35% decline to COVID. And 3 questions later, one was, well, last year, same time, how much were you dropping out on an average month? 2 is, and in this case, this conversation was they're normally losing 7% a month, which is a horrible number. But if you're losing 7% a month in 2019, and then losing 7% a month in 2020, and you do that for 5 months without having enough enrollments to compensate for it, you're going to be down 35%. And we ended up talking to a lot of schools who thought, oh my goodness, my school got killed by COVID, when what happened was in March, they stopped marketing and they didn't adapt to doing enrollments by Zoom or by, some other video conference platform, RingCentral or whatever. They didn't continue to do enrollments. They didn't continue to market. And Amanda, you were probably in our sphere the fastest to adapt. If I remember correctly, you did, what was it, 35 enrollments between mid-March and the end of April? Is that about right?
We did, and it was all of those enrollments were on Zoom. They were all virtual enrollments, because we couldn't have in-person classes. So
Teaching intros,
adapting.
Teaching intros on virtual too. I mean, everything was done virtual.
It was, and just knowing that we needed to continue enrolling people to continue with our goals for the year. All the hard work we had done to get to that point really spurred us and gave us, you guys gave us confidence that we could do it. So.
And your marketing had to change too. I mean, Master Oliver was really good at jumping on the things that had been working for us before COVID didn't work once COVID hit. So at least not as well. And so we had to go almost a completely different direction. And you jumped on that right away. And a couple of our other members did stall out for a month and then saw what you did. And that really lit them up. And then they really jumped on board.
Well, maybe to say it a little differently is we're always preaching the Parthenon, having 20 different things going on every month that's going to drive traffic. Some of those things would have been be out at the movie theaters with a booth when Black Widow came out, be out at the live events for Easter, for instance. And those things dried out. On the other hand, we were doing an aggressive job with Google, pay-per-click, search, with Facebook, with email marketing, and people actually started reading their email again. Amazing. But email engagement and readership actually went up. I was ready to completely write off email, but then when people are working from home and their kids were having remote school, they actually started paying attention. So the results on that went up. Facebook, what happened is the engagement on Facebook as people shifted to working from home and such went up 640%. In other words, 6.4 times. And at the same time, major big dumb companies, advertisers started pulling their ad budget, which is the reverse of what they should be, and it's typical. Some of them should have, I mean, if you're a cruise line or your Marriott or your Southwest, maybe you did need to have ad budget out there. But really, what everybody should have been doing is massively bumping up their budget at that point. So what we had is massive improvements on Facebook, massive improvements by email. Amanda, you were already doing a lot of really good work, TV, becoming a respected author and local celebrity and so forth. All of that stuff continued to work. In fact, it worked even better, right? So maybe said differently, Master Smith, we always have that Parthenon anyway. And I stole that from Jay Abraham. He calls having one thing that drives traffic being like a diving board. And what happens is too many businesses is that pillar gets knocked out. And that's exactly what happened to a lot of people during this. And the second thing they did is if they were spending money in areas, they stopped spending money. And that's the dumbest thing you can do. When things get tough, you want to double down, triple down. You want to really pour it on at that point, right? But again, what we're going to do here is hit some of the topics of what's working right now. And in addition, what I want to do is have Bob Dunn here. We introduced Bob a minute ago. Set a time for Andrew and for Jesse, and we've got somebody dialed in by phone number. I don't know who that is. But for Mark and for John, etc. We want to set a time with Jeff Smith on Monday or Tuesday, and then he'll set a time with me. And once you've done that, Bob is going to send you a bunch of materials to look at today, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, so you can be really prepped and fresh with questions for Jeff Smith on Monday or Tuesday. Bob, what are the times that you have available Monday and Tuesday?
So we've got a span of from East Coast to Pacific time, but we're looking 10 Eastern, which would be 7 Pacific, and anybody who falls between, that's the time slot earliest, all the way up to 5 o'clock Eastern time.
Okay. So
Monday and Tuesday. So anything in between.
Okay. Well, let's ask Sal. Are you still there with the beautiful baby? Did we lose Sal?
Yes.
Okay. Hey, Sal, you're on Pacific time, right? So
Yes,
what's a good time, morning or afternoon on Monday for you, or with Tuesday?
usually in the afternoon.
Okay,
I watch my kids in the morning.
cool. So how about 2 o'clock Pacific on Monday?
Yeah, that could work.
Okay. So if that works for you, Bob will put that down and plan on about 30 minutes, and we'll send you a Zoom link. So we'll do it on a video conference as well on Monday. And Bob's going to text over to you. Sal, what's your best mobile number? We'll text you that link to all that other information.
619-548-6070.
Okay, get that, Bob?
Yes, sir. Yeah, and then I'll also text over some of the information as well to you, Sal.
Yeah, and that Zoom link for Monday.
Yeah.
Andrew, what's best for you? And I'm sorry, I don't know
Monday,
what time zone you're on.
I'm at Eastern Standard Time.
Okay.
Does Monday at 1 p.m. work?
Sure does.
There you go.
That's great for me. Perfect.
And same question.
And then Andrew, I just so I can text some stuff. What's a good cell for you?
Sure. 519-732-6400.
6400. Okay, and that was
Is that a cell?
1 Eastern on
One Eastern.
Okay.
Is that a cell number, Andrew?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yeah, so we'll text you that information. And John Benson, what's good for you? You're muted.
John Central.
Okay. They still muted.
I don't know if I can unmute
Can
him.
you unmute him, Bob? There you go.
Oh.
You got it.
Sorry, John. Sorry. Yep. There we go. I messed you up.
Okay. Thank you. I'm off Monday, so Monday at 11 Eastern or 10 Central will be good.
Does that work, Bob?
You got it. 10 Central Monday. Yes, sir.
And Mark,
Thank
what
you,
about you?
Did you get
Oh,
it?
let me just make sure I have. What's a good cell number for you, John?
773. You already have it, Bob. 773
Oh, do I?
398 5425.
773.
Bob's having a senior moment there.
I know.
He's got a tornado going on off,
Hurricane. Well, both of them. We got. They threw both curveballs at us.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's right. A hurricane that's creating tornadoes. Of course, you've got Florida tornadoes. You don't have Oklahoma tornadoes. You don't know tornadoes. Mindy and I know tornadoes. John, where are you? Refresh my memory.
Chicago.
Oh, Chicago. That's right.
Oh, that's right. You're Illinois.
Yeah. I love Chicago. I haven't been there in a while. Not gonna be going until the weather warms up. No, I was just there. That was the Marvel Marathon. I was just out for. I took my son and one of his buddies for, believe it or not, they did all 22 Marvel movies leading up to the Infinity War movie. It was right downtown, about two the AMC Theater about 3 blocks from Navy Pier. So literally straight through, by the way. They did 22 Marvel movies back to back to back to back to back. I was smart enough to figure out there was a hotel right on top of the theater and abandoned them a number of times, but it was somewhat entertaining. And then Mark, what's good for you on that schedule? You're muted as well.
And he's Pacific.
Okay, so I'm guessing 2 o'clock on Monday Pacific time. I already have a meeting with Mr. Moody, so he's at 1:15, so maybe 2 o'clock.
Yeah, we're working on his marketing.
2 o'clock Pacific. I'm sorry, Sal has already grabbed that up on Monday.
So,
Or did you say Tuesday?
Monday.
No, Monday, but Tuesday. Hold on.
Well, what's good? That Bob, how about 30 minutes later or 30 minutes?
Yeah, that's fine. How does 1:30 Pacific on Monday?
I don't know how long Mr. Moody's gonna take, so I'm guessing maybe. I'm sorry, you said 2 o'clock or no? So what about 2:30? How long does this take? I don't know.
I plan on about 30 minutes.
So let's say 2:30.
And then we'll do another follow-up. There'll be 30, 45 with Master Smith and myself.
2:30 Pacific on Monday.
2:30 on Monday, yeah.
Perfect.
You have a
And then
cell number for him?
Yeah, you should have all my info. It's 209-825-8640.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and then we'll text you that information. And Jesse, are you there? Earth to Jesse. That's the thing I hate with people. I always hated doing
He's
telephone.
unmuted.
Okay, I'm here.
There you go. What's a good time? Maybe on Tuesday. What's your schedule look like on Tuesday?
1 o'clock or 2 o'clock will be fine. Either one.
And you're on Central or Eastern?
Eastern.
Eastern. Okay.
How
Is
about
that
we
where
do,
you're from?
Jesse, how about if we do 1 Eastern on Tuesday? Does that work for you, sir?
That would be great.
All right. Glad you made it on today.
And you've got all of his information and stuff.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Okay.
We talk all
Hey,
the
wow.
time.
Everybody pat me on the back. We've managed to get all that done in 6.5 minutes. So it didn't chew up too much time. So now we can get back to some more meat. So let's first let me pause. Anybody have any questions? John, Andrew, Mark, any of you guys have any questions at all so far? No?
Master Oliver, for all those that we're going to be talking to next week, if you could, over the weekend, look at the material that Master Oliver's sending you. They'll give you a lot of information, and it'll also give you some ideas on questions to ask me that I can help you with. Also, if you any statistics that you can come up with, like what your gross was last month, how you're doing this month, how many leads you got or intros or enrollments, any of that kind of stuff, that'll give us an idea of where you're at, so we'll know where to take you and how to get you there, that kind of thing. Any marketing things you've been doing, write down. So the more information you can kind of put together and write down, then the more we'll be able to look at it and see how to improve your school.
Yeah.
And if you don't, one real quick, John, if you don't mind, sir, I had 2 emails on you. Is it triaspider@gmail or is it the other one?
Same one.
Triaspider?
Yes, sir. At
Okay.
Gmail.
Thanks.
There you go.
Nice trophies there, John.
Yeah, quite the collection of dust collectors.
I'm glad we don't have Jesse's picture there. That's why he's standing in front of his house. He can't get in it. There's too many trophies in there.
Yeah. I just like his Corvette. I've always been a Porsche guy, but I am in lust with the new C8. I must say.
They're beautiful, aren't they?
They really are.
That's
They
the
really are.
prettiest car made any price.
Well, I might take exception to that a little bit, but it certainly punches above its weight. But I'd hate to pay an extra $500,000 to get something that would top it. But anyway, so moving right along, let's talk about the reality in the environment right now. And Jan, why don't we put you to work a little bit? Tell us about student retention in the era of COVID and lockdowns, openings, not openings, resurgence, all of that kind of stuff?
We're actually doing really well. We're back growing. So we made a mistake when COVID first hit. And what we did is I did exactly what you told us not to do. I immediately pulled back my budgeting for marketing. And so because of this, so 1 month I didn't do my Facebook marketing. Then I get on the call with everybody else and I hear how Amanda's brought on 30 people that month and another like 20 the next month. And I'm like, oh my goodness. And I put it back on. So that month caused us to lose people, or not to lose people, but you have your normal loss and you don't bring new people on. So that hurt us. And so we got down to like actually 299, but we're back to like 320 right now. We brought in 30 people this last month. And, once we started marketing again, it all started coming. But just that one little thing of Amanda doing it and us sharing and learning from her, I would have not marketed thinking I was saving money for probably 6 months to a year, who knows? And then I would have never gotten online and done all the online enrollments and all the things that we did if I didn't know that everybody else was doing it and it was working. So
how did you finish up October?
We finished up October pretty good. Not our goal, but we were at 87,000. And we brought on, I think 30 new people. And I think we had, and that's at $250 a month.
Yeah.
And then we had 11, I think, enrollment upgrades, renewals, we call them, to our Leaders Club, which is at like $390 a month.
Right.
So we brought a lot of influx of people and income in October. It was a very good month.
How's your dropout rate been in September, October?
Better than it was. We were losing some people at first, and I honestly don't know the number. We were pretty high there for a while. We were at like 6%, losing 6%. And I think we're a little better now. I actually didn't look at what we lost in October. I couldn't tell you, but I don't think it was high. I would remember if it was high.
Yeah. Okay.
And 6% is high for us. 6% is very high.
Yeah. We're always targeting around 2%, right? So, Paul, how's your retention been in October, November, and or September, October? We're still.
That's the amazing thing throughout this whole thing. I mean, I know a lot of school owners in my area that have either had to close their doors or they're down 50, 60%. At the brick school, my one school, we're down 7%. And then at the other school, we're down 9%. So total, I mean, we're less than 10% dropout throughout this whole, from when it started in March till today.
Yeah.
So everybody's been real good, but I think it goes back to what you were saying. We got on things right away.
Yeah.
So when you guys said to implement something, we implemented it. We didn't wait. We got right on it. Zoom classes outdoors. And I think that made all the difference, because even now I'm still getting a lot of testimonials from our people saying how great we were. We were stability, island of stability. Actually, we're putting together a video right now of testimonials from these parents that are letting us know what difference we've made in the child's life since this has happened. But yeah, so we're less than 10% across the board. I mean, 10% dropout, 10%.
Since February.
Since February, yeah.
Yeah, excellent.
And that's like 1 or 2% a month.
Right.
Yeah. I'm just looking at now. So like 1 here, 2 here, but I mean, it's gross sales as well too. So I mean, I take that as a win.
But I think Master Oliver, if I could mention one story Paul told us a month or 2 ago, where you went to meet with a lot of the school owners that were in the New Jersey area with you, and they basically thought you were lying, right?
Yeah.
I don't want to put words in your mouth, but didn't you tell them, yeah, you were charging what you were charging, and you were keeping the doors open, and you were keeping.
Yeah, they just kind of looked at me like I was telling stories, and then. I hated to even say, because a lot of these guys were telling me about how the schools were down, and then then I tell them, I said, oh yeah, we got a $10,000 paid in full, and they're like, what do you mean you got $10,000? So they didn't get it, they didn't believe it. So yeah, that's correct.
Yeah, if you told somebody, told these guys that that you're disappointed because you didn't hit 100,000 cash this month, they would be going, "Oh, shut the hell up!"
Yeah, yeah, a lot. They're kind of looking at me at the side of their
Boo
eyes.
hoo.
Yeah.
But I think it all goes back to the group. If I can compliment you guys again, it's just I think it was the leadership, and it was the guidelines, the checklist, and it was the idea of getting on things, taking action. That's what I'm trying to say. That we took action right away.
Yeah. Well, and we can talk about history, but moving forward, if I'm down 100 or 200 students and I'm stressed out and my revenue is down, and we know this is, at the low end, this is a really tough business, and at the high end, it's a very lucrative business, right? I mean, the bad thing about a martial arts school is all of your costs are fixed. The good thing about it is once you break fixed costs, everything's profit, right? So, Amanda, if you add 40 or 50,000 a month to the gross, you dramatically increase the net profit. But moving forward, if I've got to get back another 100 students, or if I've got to get back another 200 students, and I'm right here in mid-November, and I'm looking at finishing the year strong and then moving into the new year strong, let's kind of go around the team here. Paul, what's working right now to generate new enrollment traffic?
Well, you know what? I've been staying loyal to the Facebook ads. Actually, I probably spent a little bit more than I normally would. So I think that's been steady. That's been consistent. And then we did the old school, marketing. We did trunk or treat, at both schools, and we got some leads from that, got some signups from that. I kind of eased up on the print ads, direct mail, which I know I have to get back on that. So I've been relying a lot on the Facebook and some outside events that I could pull off.
Yeah. And the good thing is that's working. The bad thing is we want 20 different things.
Got to do the other thing as well.
Yeah. But how many new students did you do in October and in September?
We did right now. I'm just adding up between the two schools. It was 30 contracts last month for October, and then September it looks like it was about 25.
Okay, so real consistent flow. And how's that compared to 2019?
We're up.
Yeah,
we're up. Our closing rate is up. Our show rate is up, and compared to signups, yeah, we're a little bit up. We're up about maybe 15%, looks like.
Excellent. And with frankly a lot of things that we might normally do. I mean, Halloween would have been a great time to be at a bunch of, did some trunk or treats, but there a whole bunch of stuff got eliminated, or social distance out of existence.
Yeah.
We normally would have been out, movie theaters and other big events. A lot of that stuff got truncated. Plus, we normally would have been in the elementary schools, doing PE teach for the day and one thing. And of course, we adapted to that by doing virtual, but a lot of things got wiped out. But then other things, direct mail follow up to prospects, direct mail follow up to, inactive students to get them back in. A lot of things. Greg, Macy, what's working for you right now? What's been your best drivers in November, October?
I mean, we're kind of in the same boat with Facebook as being our primary source. We have done a pretty good job with family add-ons and referrals over the last 2 weeks. So we did about 5 enrollments in the last 2 weeks just with family add-ons. So kind of shifting focus a little bit, had some events and contests and stuff put together to drive that. But Facebook is really the biggest. So across all 3 schools over the last month, we did about 40 enrollments. So not as good of numbers, but we're still moving in the right direction, and that's the big thing, is that we are making improvements.
Absolutely. Amanda, what's been driving your enrollment traffic in addition to Facebook?
Well, our website has been number one as far as lead generating over the last few months, for sure. It's always right up there with Facebook, but here recently it's really kind of taken off, and it's kind of exciting to see that. I like to see that, and phone calls coming in. My location is not an easy walk-in place, but having people get on the phone and look us up and on the web, that's working really well.
And
Facebook
you've been
too.
working with Go to Karate.
With Master Greg
Mark.
Moody, right? He does our website and SEO and all that.
Yeah, yeah.
And your Master Mom TV, you know, you have such a presence in your community that everything you're doing also drives them to your website. And so I think that has a big thing to do with it too.
Yeah, and anybody who's not getting really good results with that, you know, when we talk, we'll set a time for you to talk to Master Media. I know Mark already was, but with Rev Marketing as well to get that going if that's something you're interested in. And Master Media, let's talk about that briefly. Is, you know, a lot of people had the assumption that nobody's going to be out looking for martial arts lessons, and they're all hunkered down and they're scared and they're, you know, whatever excuse they use. It's the election, it's COVID, it's whatever else, you know, kids aren't going to school, so therefore they're not doing anything else. Talk about online, how that really is the opposite of the truth.
Yeah, well, we're noticing, because I also do a lot of work with Go to Karate and Rev Marketing. And as Amanda, thanks for saying that. Amanda, we've been working together for a long time with her marketing, and she's being very assertive with her marketing, doing a lot of organic marketing and pay-per-click marketing as well with her website. So not just letting her website kind of sit there by itself and not do anything with it. She's being very active. Search traffic, both on Facebook and on AdWords and Google, is up over 600%. It changes month to month, but it's been up a lot. And, you know, the funny part is people stop marketing. As Jan said, she made that mistake the first month, but, you know, they're sitting at home doing nothing. So what else are they going to do but you know, look online. So there's a lot of opportunity there. There's been a lot of opportunity since March. And what the prediction is the opportunity is going to stay there. As you mentioned before, email, which was kind of dying and getting worse and worse and worse. The quantity of email is going up, but readability and deliverability of email was going down. And so we had to make sure that we marketed in lots of other ways, both online and offline. But it was becoming a better medium to use. That just emphasizes how much more your website and the other marketing tools you use online are important. So just your basic website, and if your website isn't rated good, which most of the time when we look at a website and do an analysis, it's rated horribly. You know, just like a lot of things we take a look at, 95% or more of the websites that we look at are you know, not secure, very slow, have a lot of really horrible characteristics that are done technically. And a lot of times
it's been not mobile compatible, which is a big deal now.
Yeah, because somebody's got a guy in their school that does their site and they say they're a web designer, or they do it themselves, or they do something on GoDaddy. And, you know, it's the most fundamental piece of somebody's marketing, because now if you go out and hand out flyers across the street, which you can't really do too much anymore, well, you could, but there's not as many opportunities maybe to hand stuff out, depending on your coronavirus situation around. But if you walk down the street and handed out flyers, or you did online marketing, people are still going to look you up. I think your statistic was, and I think this is at least accurate, is 80% of soccer moms, if they find you in some other marketing venue that you use, they're going to look you up. And that's true in the business realm. It's true everywhere that they're going to look you up. Well, how do they look you up? They use Google. It's standard browser on an iPhone. Yeah. Obviously, it's a standard browser on an Android device. So people, 80% of searches are also with your mobile device, and usually websites aren't designed right for mobile, even if they say they are. So, you know, it's just, I could go on and on, which we don't have time for now, but that's something that we really need to take a look at fundamentally when people talk to us about marketing, and fix that first. Otherwise, a lot of the stuff we build in this Parthenon that you're talking about, which is exactly correct, lose a lot of their effectiveness because they haven't fixed this bottom layer, which is their website now.
And maybe just to emphasize that, regardless of what the initial driver is, they saw a bandit sign on the side of the road, they saw a banner, they came in for a birthday party, a friend that who lives next door referred them, they got a piece of mail in the mail, they saw you on TV, regardless of what the initial driver is, they saw you in a Facebook ad. That number is somewhere between 75 and 85%. So let's say, 80% for the kids market of moms are going to go Google you. and they're looking for your website. They're looking for anybody who's upset and complaining. They're looking for your Google ratings. One of the things we see a lot of times is, schools don't have, 100 5-star Google ratings out there. And that's important. You've got to have that depth of credibility. And unfortunately in our niche, if you don't go and have a system in place to create 5-star positive ratings, what you get is the occasional person who is pissed off. Because people who are happy in this niche, don't just go do that on their own. I mean, restaurants and like Amazon, that happens more organically, but not with us. With us or a dentist or a chiropractor, all you get is occasionally somebody who's irritated if you don't have a good system in place for getting that. And as you said, Master Moody, they're going to end up at your website, and it's so important. And an awful lot of times is people confuse the website with the source of the lead, right? It could be that they saw 10 other things and then they opted in on your website. Or it could be that they searched on Google, or they, clicked on a pay-per-click ad. And so we want to separate it. When somebody says to me, well, I got a whole bunch of leads from my website, my first question is, well, how did they get to your website? And we can track that, with Google Analytics and, less accurately just asking them. But we want to know that. And so we want to know if it's search is working, if pay-per-click is working, or if it's the soccer mom out looking you up once they came up with something else. And it's important to know all of those things and be on top of it.
Can I add one thing though, sir?
Of course.
I think one of the things that we do a really good job of, if you look at the online marketing, it used to be, when you and I started, we talked about when Grandmaster Smith started in 63 before I was born, actually. So
you had to throw that in. What year were you born?
66.
Oh, okay, good. So I didn't start before you were born.
Yeah. No, you didn't, sir. We're a little younger than Grandmaster Smiths, but anyway. But if you look
younger than Grandmaster Smith.
When I started my school, and the same for a lot of us, you had Yellow Page, you had radio, you had 5 or 6 different things you could do for marketing. Within those, there were a lot of variants, but 5 or 6 things. In online marketing, I think for all of our guys on the call and for all business owners, just online marketing alone, there's thousands of things that people ask us to do and that sound good and might actually be good, but really there's only a small narrow niche of these that are probably going to be effective at any given time. And I think one thing that we do a really good job of and help our members out with, and our members can say that back us up on this or not, is that we try to help you with the 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or maybe 6 or 7 things that you really ought to spend your time on. And otherwise, it's very, very confusing what the best thing to do is. We talk to so many people and they say, well, I'm doing Facebook. Well, what do you mean on Facebook? Oh, well, I'm posting stuff on Facebook, or I'm boosting a post, or I'm doing this or doing that. And a lot of that stuff is just wasted time and wasted money. Or they're doing something on Instagram. Well, what are you doing? Well, that's often wasted time and wasted money. So what we are trying to do is not just have 20 or 30 things going on with marketing, whether it's online or offline, but make sure that stuff's really effective. And it's those little tweaks that we help you with that make 10 times or 20 times the difference and make this stuff really work. So anyway, I just wanted to, that's such a critical part so that all this stuff ends up working a lot better, 20, 30 times better sometimes, and it gets you real results.
And as I warned everybody up front, we're going to run out of time. We've got another meeting starting in about 92 seconds. But let me give you a little bit of a summary here real quickly. There's a bunch of stuff that's working great right now to generate traffic. And if you're down by 100 students or down by 200 students, there's a bunch of stuff that's working great to get them back. And there's a bunch of stuff that's working well to get new traffic. And it's working great in November, in the middle of the pandemic, in the middle of the election in 2020, as well as it worked last year. So that's number one. Number two is we're operating under the assumption of who the hell knows what comes next on this thing, right? So we're operating under a all of the above strategy. So we're doing simulcast of the classes. We're doing remote learning support. We're doing classes in the park when you can get away with it. Some of you You know, if you're in San Diego or Florida, you're great with classes in the park. And if you're in Colorado, it's either going to be a blizzard or 70 and sunny. We don't know which ahead of time. So you got to decide on your area. The other thing that we know, not only is the marketing working as well as ever, a lot of the things we're doing, like online, Facebook, email, et cetera, are working better than ever. And that's not going to last, by the way. But there's a spike we should take advantage of right now. The thing we find mostly, and Amanda, you had this, Jan had this, Greg had this, is when we get people to suddenly get a whole bunch of, we call it drinking from a fire hose, a whole bunch of new leads, say from Facebook, they almost always screw it up for 2 or 3 months. And then they complain that it's flaky leads and people aren't really serious, but it's about systems and process to fix that. It's not about that the leads are flaky. It's about how the staff is handling it, how they're thinking about it, what the processes is. It's automated systems to follow up. And it's frankly, it's timing. If somebody opts in on a Facebook ad,